This is honestly one I'm most proud of. But I asked you that yesterday. I said, how many of you have heard safety and climate smart agriculture mentioned in the same sentence? I wonder exactly a rush of hands coming, right? But this always bothered me. Right? And for the benefit of the online audience, we are not seeing. We just quickly. These climate smart agriculture strategies are connected with most, if not all, of the major cross-cutting themes of development and environment. A number of issues need to be recognized and reconciled in order for the climate smart approach, those I keep using approach, climate smart approach to become the default approach to development. Let me repeat that. So you're looking at the default approach to development. So in other words, we are seeing this climate smart agriculture thing as not only being linked towards sending development goals of intention, yes, okay, but this is the factual way in which agriculture is going to be conducted. And just with Trevor saying that things are official reporting and so, but I'm telling you, the three areas that we spoke about so far, anything to do with climate change will have to be on our table. Anything to do with climate finance, all of these GCF grants, all over the place. All of these concept notes, they must have a comprehensive climate smart agriculture approach. And then we take a look at justice aspect. Why should we be looking at using solutions that came from elsewhere, where we have to repatriate whatever funds are necessary to be able to utilize them? Yeah. So in terms of question 9, how safe are the production related operations? I remember yesterday when we started, so there was some skepticalness there. But it's exactly familiar with what I was saying. So let's look at it. More than 50% of the equipment does not meet industry safety standards. If you think about I mean, I'm old enough to remember when people used to use CP3 camera. Stop on your CP3 camera, marching down the place, busy. And you find your breath wet all the time. But it's still going on, busy. Or you can find out about all the cancers and things from chemical running down your back. You're already sweaty. You're certainly not wearing overall. You ain't wearing long sleeve, but things don't matter already. Can't expect me to wear goggles and, I don't see inside the goggles, which was sweating inside the goggles. So I ain't wearing no goggles, I ain't wearing no gloves. Gloves is supposed to see, a big strong man, I need no gloves. Right? So when you start talking about climate smart agriculture, you better take safety. Yeah. So more than 50% of the equipment does not meet industry standards. The infrastructure is not purpose built. You're not going to build one. The number of times when we use buildings, use areas because it's convenient and immediate. How many of you have seen farmers store chemicals in all kinds of retail shops? Scattered all over the farm. Maybe three coconut branches. Three coconut branches and 2 tins of something under the 3 coconut branches. Yeah? I'm being very serious. Okay. What that means in terms of the implications for the safety of children on the farm, of less responsible people on the farm, because not everybody walking about on their farm is responsible. I'm sure you know. Right? There are some people walking about too, but it shouldn't be left for the only message. And it certainly shouldn't be left around the adjustment. Yeah? So you only get 1 point for that if that is true. If less than 50% of the equipment does not meet industry safety standards, with respect to the operation, the environment of use, etc. And the infrastructure is not purpose built. Well, you gotta pay a mark for that, pay to that. Just remember in our system, even if you got 2 volts and they can it's still won't make average 3 points. The equipment means it meets industry standards, sorry, with respect to use, operating environment. What do I mean by operating environment? There are some things that are not supposed to be used outdoors, let's say. And the bits of equipment are not supposed to be used in enclosed rooms. Yeah. There's some bits of equipment that are supposed to be used around open flame. I mean, you see how involved this gets, right? Because we all know of farmers who have a bottle of gas here, a little weed whacker here, a little thing of kerosene there, and then drinking water in a container there. Right? So as I said, as an extension officer, you have to be very careful how you talk to somebody about that. The first thing they will tell you is that you give them money to buy a proper vehicle. So you have to be very careful, you know. You don't want to approach this thing as being so bright that you know everything about everything. But you have to find ways to gradually get them talking about some of the safety concerns. You can get a good rating of 4 marks if your equipment meets the industry standards, respect the use, environment, operating conditions, and your infrastructure is purpose built. So what you call in a storeroom was always going to be a storeroom. Yeah? It's not a shed, it's not something that you just decide, I can well keep these things here. Right? Or if it's tools that you're storing, whatever it is, but purpose built. That's a big one. Nothing about purpose built, because far too often in this sector, remember, when you're talking about climate smart operations, we're not just talking about field operations, we're talking about people in processing and things. Yeah. Where they decide they want to make jam, or they decide they want to make up a sauce. And the same tile surface that they were using all the time, they feel that they could use that now to produce whatever it is, pepper sauce, whatever it is. We need to find out that industry standards say that any tile surface, there's no way to completely disinfect grout. Yeah. You need a stainless steel surface. That's what I mean by purpose built. To get 4 marks if the equipment meets industry standards and the safety standards with respect to equipment, environment, etc., and the infrastructure is purpose built. And then here's how you can go one better than that. And tell me how many of you know farmers that do safety drills? I know some, right? But they're in the minority. Yeah, sure. They're all in the minority. And the safety drill has even to do with transporting. How many of us, I want to call my name, but drive our vehicles, even the brake line go? Huh? Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not making this stuff up, Farmers, as I said, I can count on maybe one hand, the farmers I know who have actually had safety drills, who know what to do if something flies out of here and hits them in the chest. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up, because they're operating dangerous pieces of equipment there. How many of them know how to untangle a whacker line, right? Without having anything, can slap you across the face with that piece of nylon. I mean, simple sounding things like that, right? I have, I know people who lost tools. Yeah. But let's say this is the equipment. In the days when you had these metal like hedge trimmers and so, right? It is possible when you're sweating, for that thing to just slip, hit against a surface, and come back and take a two with it. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm telling you what actual cases, right? So when you hear me talking about safety concerns, I'm not just trying to be difficult. I'm saying that I don't want to be recommending an approach to people that does not take into consideration your safety and the safety of the worker. So to me, that would not be a comprehensive damage to my life. So if you have the safety drills, the occupational safety and health compliance, right? Well, I'm talking about the people who read and display the safety precautions for the use of equipment. Talking about people who, when you go into their shed, which is school bus girls, has a big sign on what to do and what not to do. In the same way that everybody from now they could do it when it comes to COVID, all kind of arbitrary people who probably never wash their hands in their life. And big sign, wash hands up. So not having is something that average farmer can do. Everybody do. But they have to be motivated, there must be an incentive. There must be a reason why they do it. And if you're saying you're coming to assess their climate smart agriculture operations, and you're including that question, then the way for them is to be beneficial. Yeah. Question? Okay. From the point of what about is safety now in terms of harvesting? That's what we talked about yesterday. You may ask yourself, so what training you need to use coconut? What training you need to safely harvest, increase our soil? Doesn't sound like anything major. Look at how I'm approaching it. More than 50% of the equipment does not meet industry safety standards with respect to use, operation, environment, etc. And there are no protocols with respect to this case. If you have new coconut at that point, so override, ready to drop coconut, and you go up there, or you stay down here with some piece of iron, some gizmo, and keep poking the coconut tree. They can look about what's that? You're watching it, drop out space for them. I am saying that when you hear me talking about maturity in this season, I'm not talking about something fancy in a booking. I'm talking about basic coincidence setting. There are certain things that you don't jump down. If you're at a particular stage of right now, you don't go poking up here. You go again, but yeah. So that if you're talking about something comprehensive, then we want to be sure that the people who are we advising, who we are assessing, who we are assisting, who we are training, come to a realization that all of this is involved in this thing we call any kind of smart eye. So less than 50% of the equipment does not meet industry standards, respect the environment and all that. The protocols with respect to stage of maturity are not followed. So this is now so you're trying to put the coconut is about to fall. You can get 3 points if you have equipment that meet the safety standards with respect to operating environment, etc. And the protocols with respect to stage of maturity still not followed. So, are they using the right piece of equipment? Not necessarily using the right. Yeah. Because there are some, I mean, I don't want to get too graphic, but there are some fruits and tree crops, that if you interfere with them at the wrong time, some kind of gum or something could fall in the eye. You see, I mean, we taking this like here because all experienced extension officer. So you probably figure that everybody knows that. But not everybody knows that. And every now and then you get people who get injured because they don't know the appropriate time to have this particular stuff. And they have no idea what opportunity next is. Remember yesterday I was talking about the pumpkins? Okay, so everybody knows the pumpkin and then there's peel, if the temperature is starting to drop off, or if you come and you knock it, right? It's like but sometimes it has to be a little more involved than that. Right? You get 4 points in the equipment meets industry safety standards, but you have protocols to respect the stage of maturity and follow it. Right? Saying that when it comes to harvesting, you have safety drills. Saying this is not something that you're trying to feel in this part of the world. So we really like safety drills there. Kind of dismiss. I'm telling you, let's think of the home environment. I come from a country where global it's a myth. Right? Absolutely. I'm not living in a country. I come from a country. Right? My years in grade and all, but I'm telling you, the global housing should have it. Right? I can tell you as a fact that when we moved into the last house I lived in, because that's it. Took off and I asked everybody to find the key to the burger food thing. In the dark, open it, get out to the left. Now you might think that everybody does that. No, everybody does that. Everybody might know that, yeah, we have the key. Yeah. We have a particular burger bar that has a padlock, and we keep the key, somewhere in the room. And in case of emergency, we just take the key, open that. Everybody, I am telling you that I'm sure 99 who have the ability to open a burger bar with a key. All assume they will be able to do it in pitch black dark, it smells smoke. I'm telling you, no, you're going to forget where that key is. And you don't forget where the key is. When you find the key, unless you have been trained, I'm not making it up. Why think I could do it so quick? I mean, I'm potentially, you run your hand along the key, so you know which end is the smooth end, which end is the jagged end. And we always leave the padlock so that you put the smooth end to the right. You know what it is? In a smoke-filled room, with literally finding your teeth to put a padlock and just because you have no idea what side the padlock faces, and don't tell me you're gonna feel it, you ain't that good, right? So we knew that you hold the key, you run your finger down the spool end, and the padlock will always be in one position. When we open, when we close, we always have it in one position. But you put that spool side into the padlock, open, you swing the burger bar, you break the glass, and you go what you do. I'm telling you this now, and see everybody watching and nodding and saying, I hope you do it. I hope you don't have cause to do it. I mean, to use it, but I hope you have done it before, especially with your kids. Because you're a big heart, bad person, you might be able to, not panic. You have your kids in a room, and they need to be able to do it. They need to be, they have gone through at least once. But that's what a safety drill is about. A safety drill is for you to get into the muscle memory to do it. If we just talk about it, you know, many hotels have moved from because the fire escape was just that. You know what I mean when I say the fire escape is just that? The fire escape was a place for the fire to escape, not for you to escape. Oh, you're laughing, but I'm dead serious. And the reason why I'm not dead is because of that serious, right? I don't stay in any place where you tell me, you know, this is a fancy sign, you are here, you know. Turn right and run down the, no, sir. I go and do it. I've been in big establishments, Holiday Inn. That fancy sign, you know, you are here. A big red dot. You think we're gonna see it? God, there's 5 things later. I go down there, you can see trolleys and things in the fire. I call that. I think in that respect, I'm the closest thing to American and so to understand litigation. And I know that ain't compensating me when I break my neck trying to go down that fire escape, right? So I start up front. So when I tell you about safety drills, it's not just something that I'm advocating it. I honestly believe in it. I think the best proof that it works is when you never have to use it. There's only one time you have to use it. That one time to be kind. Black people just do our best for yourself. You see how you keep. Sometimes, you know, before that padlock there and that wrought iron, all then you know what?
Oh, okay.
Not open. So you there, literally firing it in, and you could not allow that having to open it in. Right? So when I tell you that, you know, you get 4 points for the safety drill, I know what I'm talking about. You have safety drills, and if the equipment meets the industry standard, you have protocol to respect the stage up to. Anybody not get that? I think that is too much detail. Yeah. Are we on to safety, right? Yes, we are chapter 9, just finished chapter 9. We did have a slide. To be honest. Yes, how safe is the actual, yeah, eventually time. How safe is the actual product or process? Produce some product. Sorry. Oh yeah. So if you have a high risk food item, such as dairy or fish, then you better have some kind of active certification for the product. Remember yesterday when I was talking about having the ground provisions or whatever it is stored and literally on the ground because of the ground provision. I'm seeing that rain depends running up and down. Because obviously you're assuming that it's rain depends because you already want that's relating on your final product. Right? Not helpful. Then of course, here we have where you have full active certification, full gap certification as part of your visualization. How can they see how we doing? So time, what are we? 12:50 lunch? Okay, cool. So all we do nothing. So that, you know, Bobby and me, you know,